Well, good morning, Santa Clarita. Good morning and welcome in. You are listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. I am Matt Wattson, and this is SCVi and iLEADSchools Eye on the Valley. How are you this morning? Are you sitting back, relaxing? It's a good Friday morning. Did you get that? Yeah, that's the best part of every Friday morning, that long drag of coffee. Oh, boy. Well, you know what? Why don't you just kick back and relax and enjoy a couple of hours of Eye on the Valley with us. We're going to have a great show today. Really excited about today's show, and I think you are you're going to be too. We got a wonderful show lined up for you. Our show, if you don't know, Eye on the Valley, is brought to you by SCVi and iLEAD Charter Schools. We are a network of charter schools with campuses in Castaic, Agua Dulce, Lancaster. We've also got a fully accredited online school, a burgeoning homeschool 3,500 kids in our homeschool program around Southern California. We call that iLEAD Exploration. But for information on any of our schools, our classroom-based schools, our campuses, our virtual schools, go to visit us at iLEADSchools.org. That's iLEADSchools.org. You can get information on any of our schools, regardless of what your kids' needs are. So yeah, we keep our eye on education here in Santa Clarita and across the nation. But like the show says, we like to keep our eye on the valley as well. Keep our head on a swivel, bringing you everything that you need to know about what is what here in the valley. And yeah, we try to do it all while bringing a smile to your face, because if you're not smiling, then why are you doing what you're doing? So we've got the content you're looking for, and we goof off a little bit. Although, some of our goofing off last week, we pissed off the mayor a little bit. We need to talk about that. We need to resolve that. Mayor Gibbs was not happy with us when he left the show last week. We'll get into that a little bit later on in the day. Stick around. We've got a great show for you today. In hour number one, you've got W-2s. We've got accountant extraordinaire Mark Gerges here to talk to us about some key changes in the tax law and everything that you need to know coming into tax season. And in hour number two today, we've got the leaders of SCVi Charter School, Martha Spancel-Pellico and Chad Powell. This week is National School Choice Week. Do you know that you, as a parent, have the right to choose where your kid goes to school? It is true. Don't make them tell you where to go. You get to choose. And this is National School Choice Week. You decide. And one of your choices is SCVi. It's a tuition-free, I said it, free public charter school. So you'll want to hear what Chad and Martha are doing out there at SCVi. And as we do, we'll wrap the show with fun and trivia with Big T. And then, like I said, we upset Mayor Jason Gibbs last week. He was gracious enough to come in and sit down for an interview with us, and we went and upset him a little bit. So I'll make sure that we clear the air a little bit on that one. It's going to be a great show. You're not going to want to miss it. Let's go ahead and get started. Grab a pad of paper and a pencil, because you're going to want to take notes on this one. Our first guest is Mark Gerges, hard G on both accounts. Mark Gerges is co-owner of Gerges and Gibbs Incorporated. He's a CPA, a CMA, CRTP, and registered representative. After graduating CSUN, my old tomato, with a BS in finance and a BA in real estate, Mark transitioned from a 5-year stint in retail banking to working internships in the investment banking field. In 2010, Mark went back to school to earn his certification in accounting from UCLA. Go Bruins! Mark finalized his certification in accounting. Don't shake your head at me, Engineer Andrew. Mark finalized his certification in accounting in late 2012 and became a certified managerial accountant in 2015. He spent time working in corporate consulting, serving the entertainment and legal industries, and Mark also holds his life and health insurance license and is a certified registered tax preparer in the state of California. Gosh, he's got you covered on multiple fronts. Mark, welcome to Eye on the Valley.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Hey, thanks for coming in. We really appreciate it. This is the perfect time for it. I know people are starting to get their W-2s in the mail, and they've got their mind on it. So I've got a lot of questions about filing taxes, obviously. But before we get to all that, tell us a little bit about your firm, because y'all don't do just taxes, right? So tell us a little bit about when and how y'all got started, and then what do you specialize in? What do y'all do?
Well, it's kind of hard to follow up with that intro, because you covered so many things about me. But like you mentioned, encompassing my career, I've been an accountant for about 13 years.
Okay.
My partner, Amy Gibbs, no relation to Jason Gibbs, by the way.
Okay.
I just want to clear that up.
Okay, I was wondering, yeah.
No, they're not related at all. She's been in the accounting and tax field for about 39 years. And before she and I both met, we were working at different firms. We didn't know each other at the time until about 2017. We started talking, and we both had the same kind of work ethic.
Okay.
And we said, we can do this industry better than the people that we knew.
All right.
And that's how we pretty much came together, and we started our firm January 1st of 2018.
All right.
We've been in business ever since, and we just seem to be getting bigger and better. And what I mean by that is we've come from being just known as accountants and tax people to really being those accountants that educate the clients.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll explain that in a little bit later. But keep that in mind, we educate, and we're really big on education and empowering people to learn more about their personal and business finances. We're big advocates when it comes to the, fighting for clients against the IRS or the Franchise Tax Board.
Right.
We're big on making sure people feel like office family. And that last one is really big because in this day and age, accounts are seen more as transactionary. You're in, you're out, you hear from them once a year, and it's not really
You don't even
personal.
always sit down with your accountant anymore. It's just email in the stuff, and you get your returns, you e-sign them, and you may not even see the person.
We don't do business that way.
Okay.
Our biggest thing is we pride ourselves on really working with a client around the year.
Oh, great.
In order to kind of ensure that they get the best possible tax outcome for their situation.
Okay.
And you did mention, our service. What do we do? Accounting and tax. Everybody does that. Mm-hmm. What's the big deal? But Amy and I are also insurance licensed and securities licensed. And the reason that we decided to get licensed is so we can take a legal bite out of the IRS.
Oh.
So we like to use different planning strategies, whether it comes to college, retirement, or individual planning.
Okay.
We got you covered.
Okay.
And most accountants don't get those additional licenses or take that extra step. So that's why we feel that we're very different. And, accountants these days are just stuffy. They're rigid.
Uh-huh.
You come to our office, it's fun. We got nice couches to sit on. We got beverages. We've got snacks. Do you like dogs? We've got 4 of them.
I like dogs.
We've got 4 of them. We got
Nice.
you covered if you want to hang out. We make it so you don't feel so tense coming in for a tax appointment or just to meet with us. We want you to feel excited. We want you to feel empowered. And that's the whole point.
And then you're bringing that full wraparound service. It's not just taxes. It's your financial well-being is what you guys focus on.
Exactly. It's your financial checkup.
Okay.
I mean, you're in charge of your own financial health. Every individual is. You want to make sure that you're constantly keeping yourself in check and keeping yourself healthy.
I like that. So let's talk about taxes and what's going on this year. I know that tax law changes every year, and everybody talks about that cat and mouse game that you all as accountants and the IRS play. Seems like the IRS does it on purpose, doesn't it? What changes? So what changes are there out there this year specifically that regular guys like me, John Q. taxpayer, need to know about? What's changed in the tax code?
Well, before we get into that, I just really want to say hi to Amy, hi to my wonderful staff, Leah, Jason, Debbie, and then, of course, our 4-legged staff, Maya, Lacey, Gidget, and Roxy.
There we go. I actually had a question for Roxy, the dog there in the office. I want to know who's a good girl, who's a good girl, who's a good girl.
Well, they all have job titles.
All right.
Roxy is our greeter, so even if she knows you or she meets you for the very first time, she's going to run up to you and she's going to say, hi, pay attention to me, love me,
I love it. So let's get back to the tax code. What's new this year? What's going on?
Okay, so we have a few things kind of going on with the tax code for the individuals. There are 3 things in particular that I want to bring a lot more attention to. When anybody asks me, just in general, has the tax code changed? The answer is always going to be yes.
Right, yeah.
Because
Always
the tax code has 75,000 pages, the IRS tax code.
All right.
So before I get into these, I'm going to preface something. What I'm talking about is the IRS tax law.
Okay.
Because states like California,
Right,
they
all different.
don't want to conform half the time. The
Okay.
IRS says, okay, here's the law, this is where we're going. State of California says, oh, that's nice, we're going to go do this. So you tend to have this divergence in how certain laws are to be treated. It gets crazy, but
Yeah, I can imagine. So Go ahead. What's new this year?
Okay, so the very first thing, big topic because it's been in the news, especially in the last few months, virtual currency.
Oh, like the Bitcoin and stuff like that.
Everything.
Yeah.
Okay. How we treat virtual currency for tax purposes. The IRS says one thing 1 minute, they say another thing the other minute.
Okay.
So they don't exactly have a full grasp on it because they're trying to understand what in the world is a digital wallet, what's an NFT, and by them not being able to fully understand it, they're still having trouble to figuring out how to tax it. They gave us general guidelines, but they're telling the practitioner, well, we kind of need you to figure this out a little more. So they're putting the onus on us to really be versed in this area. What I tell people is if you do own virtual currency, make sure you're working with an accountant that actually understands the various terminologies and knows when is it taxed and when you don't have to worry about tax. So there's a few nuances, and especially it's newer technology.
Yeah.
So these kinds of things are very important to really, really take your time and understand.
So if I tell my accountant I've bought a ton of NFTs this year, and so how does that work tax-wise? And your CPA says to you, well, let's learn about it together. You're probably in a little trouble, huh?
I think you are in a little trouble. I always tell people, give your CPA a heads up and says, hey, listen, I bought an NFT or I bought some cryptocurrency this year.
Yeah.
Talk with them. Walk them through the steps.
All right.
Because if you start skipping stuff around, you're potentially missing taxes that need to be reported, and then the trouble comes in. So find somebody who's actually pretty versed and who understands this stuff.
Anything else new this year that we need to be aware of?
The Inflation Reduction Act.
Okay. Yeah, how's that hit us?
Well, it's not bad.
All right.
There are a few good things that they talk about. There are some good rebates. There are some good credits regarding energy efficient vehicles, improvements on your house that are supposedly energy efficient. So there's some good ways to reduce your tax liability, with those kinds of credits too. But I always preface to everybody, if you bought an energy efficient vehicle, always make sure with the manufacturer that the rebate is still good. Because some manufacturers, after a certain number of vehicles, it phases out.
Oh, okay.
So I don't want anybody thinking that they went and just bought a brand new Tesla, for instance, and
Right,
say,
now
hey,
I'm getting
I
a
got
huge
this
tax break, yeah.
Exactly. They get this huge tax break. Then they go to the accountant. Yeah, your vehicle is not going to be under this because it was for a limited amount.
Yeah.
And you don't get it.
No
and
longer
it's just
qualifies,
like, well, it happens.
Yeah, you get the trombones. Wonk, wonk. Anything else for the individual taxpayer?
Yeah. This next one is not going to make people happy. The middle tax class refund.
Yeah.
So the one that the state of California issued was late last year, and some people are still getting it into this year. The state of California said, okay, we're not going to make this taxable. The IRS said, hold on a minute. This is not a refund of an overpayment or anything else. Therefore, for federal purposes, it's going to be taxed.
Oh, great.
Yeah. So I've got some clients that already emailed me, and they're getting 1099 notices from the Franchise Tax Board. They said, hey, what is this? I said, I've got bad news to tell you. I hope you're sitting down.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's not fun. And they didn't bother to mention this when they were going through the process.
Yeah.
So California is not talking to the federal government. They just kind of assumed, hey, we're going to make this not taxable.
Right.
And the government's like, no, based on the way you want to define this, it's going to be taxable.
Yeah.
So,
wow.
Sorry to tell everybody.
Interesting. Santa Clarita very well. Small business is really the backbone of our economy here in town. We've got a lot of small business owners. Is there anything that they need to be aware of? Are there any major changes affecting small businesses that they have to deal with this year?
There's some big things that we're still kind of reeling from the pandemic. One of the biggest items is the employee retention credit. And this started getting a lot of chatter in the last year. And everybody wants to know, what is it and how can I apply for it? And in short, it's basically a credit that an employer would receive basically for keeping an employee on the payroll during the pandemic. It sounds good, right?
Yeah.
And it's a refundable credit. So you would be getting money coming in. And you hear all these advertisements when they're saying, hey, I got all this money from the employment retention credit, blah, blah, blah. And everybody hears that part.
Right.
But what people do not hear is, how is it taxed? They don't talk about it. And when people and clients in general were asking me about it, I would tell them, for California purposes, it's just reported as a credit. It's not included in income. But for federal purposes, it is.
Okay.
Because what happens for a lot of our small business employers who have payroll, they have to redo payroll taxes. They have to redo their business income taxes. And in some cases, they have to redo their personal income taxes. So that changes the numbers. So you can imagine if a business would qualify for a $100,000 employee retention credit, that they would have to pay whatever their tax rate is on that $100,000.
All right.
So a lot of people, when you put it to them like that, they kind of backed off and they said, okay, you know what? I don't think that this is for me.
Okay.
So,
all right. So are these things like, so we talked about the Bitcoin, right? And you said it's important for our accountant to be familiar with virtual currencies and things like that. But all the other stuff, like the tax code, is that something that everybody stays on top of? And like these things that you're telling us, does every CPA know that? If I'm not invested in virtual currency, I guess I'm asking what probably sounds like a stupid question. Does it matter who I go to? Is everybody basically going to follow the tax code the same way? Can I just go to the same accountant that I've always gone to and trust that my filing is going to be done accurately?
I would like to say yes, because I would like to believe that every practitioner is always up to speed on the major topics for the tax code, but it's not always the case. A lot of practitioners these days are just focused on, okay, let me go to my tax seminar. Let me do my continuing education online, just so I can skate by to keep my licenses up to date.
Okay.
For us, what Amy and I do is every year we finish the tax seminar, we flag pages that we need to reread and go through. And we will sit down in our conference room with a large cup of coffee, go through line by line, and re-highlight and make notes of all the changes. If there's anything that needs to get, photocopied, scanned, give to our employees, that way they're talking to the clients.
Okay.
And even some stuff that impacts clients that we have to give handouts for, we always have to print those out too, because we have to have those conversations. So, like I said, it's about going that extra mile to ensure that we have the best interest of the client at heart and we get the best possible tax outcome. The big thing I've heard from newer clients this year is, my accountant's just transactionary. And you say, what do you mean by that? Walk through your relationship.
Sure.
And they say, well, I hand him my stuff. He calls once a year, or his office calls once a year. I hand him my stuff. He puts the numbers into the computer. He calls me up, says the return's done. This is what you owe. And here's my bill, and we'll see you next year.
Right.
And they're like, well, wait a minute, I've got questions. I want to know this or that. And sometimes, rudely enough, the response is, well, I'd like to answer the questions, but we're going to be closed for the next several weeks. And they're like, well, wait a minute, how am I supposed to know what to do for the next year? How do I correct this? And very first thing we do with clients is when we take them into our conference room, we give you a tax and accounting lesson. And if you're a business owner, we show you the basic financial statements that make up your business.
Right.
And literally, we give them pad and paper. You're literally going back to school, and you're taking some notes. We don't expect you to remember.
Yeah.
But the key takeaway is we're here to educate and we're here to teach you. Yeah. And what everybody always tells us is, well, gee, my accountant never did this with me. They're not taking the time to kind of go over very basic stuff.
Yeah.
Do they know all of it? Not sure.
Yeah. You wouldn't put up with that level of service from a retailer or a restaurant. Why would you put up with it from your accountant? I'm joined this morning by Mark Gerges of Gerges & Gibbs, LLC. They'll handle your taxes, your bookkeeping, and payroll, and all your investment services. We are going to continue with him when we get back right after this. I am Matt Wattson, and you're listening to SCVi and iLEADSchools Eye on the Valley on your hometown station, KHTS. Welcome back. You're listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. This is Matt Wattson, and you are listening to SCVi and iLEADSchools Eye on the Valley. I'm joined this morning by Mark Gerges of Gerges and Gibbs LLC, and they've got their eye, on your finances, all your finances, your taxes, bookkeeping, payroll, investments. So Mark, let me ask you this, and I might be revealing a little bit too much about myself. I'm a procrastinator, right? I got the email from my guy just last week, and I got to get all my stuff together, and I am bound and determined to get that done even before the end of this month. But who are we kidding? It's not going to happen. I'm a big-time procrastinator. The last few years, we've punted, we've filed the extension, and I end up filing in October, and I tell myself, hey, I had to pay the last couple of years, so it's like, I've just pushed off my payments. Is that something that's wise to do, or am I paying a penalty or interest when I file an extension?
Very good question. Big misconception to a lot of people is if I punt the ball, so to speak, and I wait, until, let's say, October 15th, which is the filing extension deadline, I'm good, because if I don't file, how's IRS going to know that I owe money? Problem is this. Penalties and interest actually start accruing the day after the tax return was initially due.
Well,
so your tax return this year, it's due April 18th. By midnight, like 12:01 a.m., April 19th, penalties and interest start accruing. So if you end up owing, you're going to accrue all these penalties and interest from back when the tax return was actually due.
Oh.
So it doesn't behoove you to push it off.
Unless you know you're getting a refund.
Well,
and even then, you want that refund now, right?
Exactly, but with all the different things that have happened in the tax code and different life changes, how are you ultimately going to be sure that you're going to have a tax refund? So I tell people, don't procrastinate, get your stuff in. And some people, I know they view doing your tax return like getting a root canal. They'd probably rather go to the dentist and get some teeth pulled than doing their tax return. But
right?
For us, we make it painless. Like I said, you come in, we got snacks, we have drinks. You want a dog to hold? Here. We'll get you through the process, and we'll show you how easy your life will be. And guess what? You don't have to wait months on end with this nervous energy built up. Get it done, see if you owe, see if you get a refund, and, move on.
Okay, so just kind of filing it in my brain here. Extension bad. And if I'm uncomfortable with it, if I'm as stressed about my taxes as I am about my dentist, I can call Gerges and Gibbs, and they'll give me a Dr. Pepper and a Cocker Spaniel and walk me through it.
Exactly, but don't ask us to do a root canal, and don't ask your dentist to do your taxes. Okay. Don't get the two confused.
Okay, very, very good point. All right, so now let's talk worst case scenario. It's the thing that all people lose sleep over. An IRS audit, right? Because you never know, when that's coming. They, sometimes they flag people, and sometimes it's just random. And now you're stressing about, geez, do I even have receipts that go back 7 years? So if God forbid I get audited, what role do you and your team play? Are you there to support me through the audit, or is it more like, hey, buddy, these are your taxes. You talk to the IRS.
No, for us, we're really hands-on with clients.
Okay.
And like I said, we educate. And we take them through the process. So the moment that a client gets a notice, and it could be something as simple as, hey, we have a question about your tax return. What is this number? Everybody freaks out when they get a letter from the IRS or the state. They're like, oh, I don't know what to do. I've said, give me the letter. Let me see what it is. Something simple or something complex, I take over from there. So I become the intermediary. It's not just with the IRS. It could be with the state of California. It could be with the Employment Development Department for all you small business owners out there. It could be with the insurance company just doing a simple workman's comp audit.
Okay.
It could be a multitude of things. Okay. But the process for me is always the same. I end up jumping in the driver's seat, and I end up taking over. And I make sure that from the very beginning to the end, and when I say end, the matter is closed out. We don't have to hear from it. I take you every step of the way. So you don't have to worry about talking to the auditor. You don't have to worry about them asking you questions directly. I usually jump in and I say, okay, everything goes through me. Leave the taxpayer out of this. Go through me. What is it that you need? Let's get this done, and we move on.
Gosh, you talk about putting my heart to rest, because now, like I said, folks stress even before they ever get notified of an audit. so nice to know that, hey, if an audit comes, just call Mark. He's got it.
Well, the funniest thing is when a client gets a notice, they don't even open it. It's just there's just the envelope. It says IRS or Franchise Tax Board.
Mm-hmm.
They start freaking out. They're like, Mark, I got this envelope in the mail. I said, okay, step one, open the envelope. Right. Let's see what it says. And sometimes it could be as simple as, the Franchise Tax Board saying, hey, Mark is your, power of attorney to handle, any and all related tax issues. This is just an update just to inform you that he's still your power of attorney. Right. And they're like, do you need this? I said, yeah, you could send it to me, but don't you feel better now that you opened it and everything? He's like, yeah. Some people will stick envelopes in a corner for like a month or two, and they will start stressing about it. And I said, don't do it. Just give me the envelope, give me the letters, let me handle everything.
Gosh, you seem so innovative. Now, we saw a lot of innovation over the last couple of years because the world just kind of kicked us in the teeth and made people innovate or die, essentially. The pandemic really reshaped a lot in our world. And during that time, I got curious. I got curious about my own industry, education, and I got curious about how other people were handling things that were completely out of our control. I watched some industries adapt and innovate and then use that innovation to continually improve their practice moving forward. And I watched other people and industries make the changes they needed to make during the pandemic. And then now that we're post-pandemic, they went back to the way we've always done things. Now, you can say that might be good, that might be bad, right? Because everybody wanted to get back to normal. But let's talk about your industry. What are some of the things that have shifted and changed in your practice? Or have we just gone back to pandemic's over, going back to the way we've always done things?
The pandemic actually really opened up new opportunities for us. Instead of just doing, the typical bookkeeping, the tax, the financial services, clients were coming to us because new bills were being passed. Right. There's PPP loans out there. Uh-huh. There's SBA loans. Uh-huh. There's all these grants the state were offering. And they said, how can I apply for these? So I ended up being in a situation where, I'm doing the applications for the clients. I'm walking them through the steps. Any of the backup documentation we need to prove that we can qualify for this particular loan, I was doing it. PPPs were big because they were forgivable. So clients wanted to know, how do I forgive this? What do I do? Can you handle this? So I said, yeah, I'm taking this all on. Taking the extra step on top of that, Amy and I, we jump into the bills whenever they're passed through Congress. Because if something's going to hit a taxpayer, we want to be in the front and we want to know about it. So with all this money coming in, they weren't exactly saying, this is how this is going to be taxed, or this is what you do for practitioners. Because they were anticipating us to be the police. Yeah. So we would jump in and tell clients, this is how we can apply for these kinds of loans. But guess what? This is how it could potentially be taxed. This is how we can get it forgiven. Mm-hmm. There's just so many things that there was not enough light shed on. They were just saying, here it is, figure it out. So we jump in. We kind of navigated clients through all these loan processes. And it turned out pretty good. The other role that we took on were mediators. So for a lot of clients, they had to kind of have uncomfortable conversations with, let's say, their business partner, or a vendor, or even a landlord, for rent purposes. Yeah. We actually would help the client, coach them, and walk them through, and jump in the middle and try to get both sides to come to an agreement. Mm-hmm. I think probably the most important thing that we ended up doing was, and it wasn't even work-related, clients would call and say, do you have a few minutes? Can I stop by? I said, yeah. Mm-hmm. I would tell them, sure. Do you want some coffee? They're like, yeah, just pour something. And we would actually sit and talk about some personal stuff. And it became more of a venting session because aside from going through all the financial stuff, people were, unfortunately losing loved ones. Yeah. They were, having job changes. Massive things are happening in their lives and they're being interrupted. Yeah. And it wasn't something that they anticipated. Mm-hmm. So a lot of times clients just kind of needed someone to have a sounding board. Yeah. And that's what we did.
With a lot of those big life changes, oftentimes our biggest concern is how's this going to affect my family financially.
Correct.
So yeah,
it always comes back to that.
Yeah, you can imagine. I can imagine that's you're the first person they'd want to go to. Now, when we talk about change, I understand you and I were talking on the phone the other day. A lot has changed in your industry recently. It's becoming harder and harder to find even a qualified accountant, let alone somebody who's innovative and can provide the full wraparound financial services that y'all do. So what's going on right now? What's happening in your field?
So we have a couple things happening. Ever since the pandemic, there's been a huge shift going on. The first and foremost is CPAs and accountants in general are just retiring.
Okay.
A lot of the old-timer type accountants that we know have been in the business, between 40, 50 years, they were looking at retirement a couple of years down the road. They accelerated that timeline. They said, you know what, we're done.
Okay, so it's like you guys are going through a cycle, kind of like the airline industry did a few years ago.
I really wish it was a cycle, but it's actually a bigger shift.
All right.
All these older accounts, they just got tired of the government pushing all this legislation and asking us, okay, you need to police the clients. You need to be on top of how they're spending these loans, those kinds of things. And they just got tired of it. On the other side, we're not having fresh blood come into the industry. A lot of the schools are finding that their enrollment for business is not gearing towards accounting. So there's a huge dip when it comes to people wanting to be an accountant.
So those folks that are retiring aren't being replaced.
Exactly.
Wow.
The newer students are finding intimidation because they're hearing from people who are accountants, hey, tax laws are changing. Things are becoming more complex. You've got to really study and really be on top of everything. The CPA exam, it takes long time, and it's hours of commitment. And just on top of it, the schools are not really teaching application. They're teaching more theory. So when they go into an accounting job for the ones that actually do graduate, it's not what they think it is. So a lot of times these students are either going to have to try to figure out, hey, do I adapt and really ramp up to learn to stay in this industry, or do I just go do something else? And a lot of times they don't want to put in that extra time and effort in the industry. They would rather go do something else.
So the work is getting more complex and you have less support. Gosh, I can see how people would want to go into a different field, even if it is in the field of finance.
Exactly.
Wow.
But the last thing we've actually encountered has been very troublesome is social media. We're finding a couple things happening, and the most common scenarios are you have younger people listening to influencers. There's influencers out there on social media, and they say that, do this for a business or get this tax write-off. They're basically giving accounting, tax, and financial advice, and they're not practitioners. And these younger people are thinking that, if this person is doing it or this person is saying it, it must be true.
Sure.
And then on the other end, you have people who are a little bit older. Let's say they go on Facebook and they're part of a Facebook group. They would end up talking to somebody, and this person is saying, this deduction is no longer allowed. Or this person's saying, hey, I want to start a business. And someone chimes in, you should start an LLC because you can deduct everything. There's just so much that people are giving advice and they're not practitioners in the realm. And I always tell people, don't act on anything you hear on social media. Talk to your accountant. Talk to somebody who's versed in this, and they'll guide you through everything.
I mean, you wouldn't take political advice from a Hollywood actor. Why would... Oh, wait a minute. People do that. All right.
People do that.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, it is complex. Make sure that you're always consulting a professional, everybody. Mark, we don't have a lot more time, but I want to make sure that we're not missing anything. What else should our listeners be aware of? What red flags, scams, anything like that should people keep their eyes on?
For a lot of practitioners, what we've seen around this time of year is a big uptick in criminal activity. Criminals always want one thing. They want your information. Why? Because they want to steal your money. What a lot of people don't know is a criminal will take your information, file a fraudulent tax return to generate a large refund that'll go to them. And most of the time, the taxpayer doesn't know that this happened.
Yeah, until they go to file, yeah.
Exactly, until they go to
You've already
file.
filed. You got your big refund last week.
So what I tell people all the time, be wary of emails, letters, scary phone calls. I always tell people, when you get these things, don't do anything rash. Don't respond. Don't do anything. Talk to your accountant first. Every year, we're apprised of the latest scams, the latest, things that criminals do just to try to get your money. But their whole point is to invoke an emotion from you to steal your money so you give something up. Don't do it. Be rational. Speak to your accountant first and let them handle the situation.
There you go. Before you do anything, call your accountant. Call Mark Gerges and Amy Gibbs at Gerges and Gibbs LLC. So, but in order to do so, people have to have your contact information. Mark, where can people find you and Amy?
So Amy and I are actually conveniently located across from Valencia High School on Smythe Drive. So
right in the center of town. Perfect.
Exactly. Address is 27819 Smythe Drive, floor number 2 in Valencia. And our direct office phone number is 661-209-3287.
Okay. Website? You got a website for people to reach out to?
Of course.
Fantastic.
What kind of accountant would I be if I didn't have one?
That's what I was thinking.
Website is gginctax.com.
gginctax.com. That's easy to remember. gginctax.com. Mark Gerges, we appreciate your time and the advice this morning. Mark Gerges of Gerges and Gibbs LLC. They've got your taxes, your bookkeeping, your payroll, and all of your investment services covered. When we get back, a public apology. I pissed off the mayor last week, so we got to make good this week. So we'll handle that right after this. Mark, thanks for coming in. We appreciate you. Take care.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
I am Matt Wattson. You're listening to SCVi and iLEADSchools Eye on the Valley. We'll be right back on your hometown station, KHTS.
It's time to experience a pain relief, wellness, and anti-aging treatment unlike any other. It's time to check out Mend Cryotherapy. Relieve chronic joint and muscle pain, diminish soreness and inflammation, alleviate stress-related symptoms, boost immune system performance, and improve sleep and recovery times. Mend Cryotherapy is open Monday through Saturday, 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. Go to Mend, M-E-N-D, cryotherapy.com.
It's finally spring. Bees buzzing, birds singing, brooks babbling.
Books opening.
Books opening?
Yeah! Spring classes at College of the Canyon start February 6th.
Really? Is it expensive?
Not at all! Classes are only $46 per unit.
But I just spent all winter inside. I want to enjoy the sunshine.
No problem! Both online and on-campus options are available.
Sounds amazing. I can't wait to sign up.
Visit canyons.edu/schedule and get ready, reset, go spring!
Right now, as you're listening to this, the last thing on your mind is needing a plumber.
Whitaker Plumbing understands.
That's why we want you to store this in the for later use file in your brain.
Whitaker Plumbing will handle all emergencies.
Your toilet won't stop running?
Call Whitaker.
Your sink is dripping?
Call Whitaker.
Your garbage disposal sounds funky?
Whitaker will handle it.
Upgrading your water heater? All your plumbing services with one call.
Whitaker Plumbing. Whitaker with one T Plumbing, SCVi.com.
All Heart Heating and Cooling. Comfort is only a heartbeat away.
Meet Lupe, another one of the good hearts from All Heart.
I am the dispatcher here. I make sure all the technicians are good to go. They have everything they need for their day.
I'm Dylan, and I named our company All Heart, not because I thought it was clever, but because we do everything with a good heart, or we won't do it.
We're there for everybody. Everybody's needs, taking care of everybody. We're there with a good heart, with a good purpose.
That's what it means to have a good heart at All Heart.
I honestly love that I just got along with everybody. I love that I am able to help customers, making sure we send someone out as soon as possible, take care of their needs.
If you're ready to meet one of the good hearts, go to callallheart.com.
All Heart Heating and Cooling. Comfort is only a heartbeat away.
Your hometown station, KHTS.
Welcome back. You're listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. This is Matt Wattson, your host and resident football expert, and you are listening to SCVi and iLEADSchools Eye on the Valley. All right, so I really stepped in it last week. I really upset the mayor. Mayor Jason Gibbs was kind enough to not only come into the studio for an interview, he even stayed and played trivia with us last week. We had a good time. He stayed the whole hour, very, very gracious. But while he was here, I really put my foot into it. It was actually before the mayor came on, while he was waiting here in the lobby at KHTS, your hometown station. I was given my NFL picks, right? Because we're in the swing of the playoffs, and I want to make sure that even, the kind of marginal football fan is kind of up on things and can talk about things at the Super Bowl party that we all go to. So yeah, the mayor's waiting, hanging out in the lobby, and I gave my NFL picks, and so we've been trying to keep everybody up up to speed. Week 1, I did really well, right? So picture this, right? Mayor's sitting in the lobby, and he's waiting, he's excited to come on about his interview, and like I said, he's a great guy, but he's listening to me give my playoff picks. First week, we did great. As a matter of fact, we were spot on that first week of the playoffs. Last week, there were 4 games. I picked all 4. We only got half of them right, but that's a different story. We'll talk about that in a second. We picked the Chiefs and the Eagles to win, and they did. We picked the Bills to beat the Bengals. Oh boy, we were wrong there. We were wrong. The Bengals just absolutely clobbered Buffalo. So yeah, now we're 2-1, and then we also picked the Dallas Cowboys to beat the 49ers. Well, not only did that really anger our honorable mayor, Jason Gibbs, who's a big 49er fan, but we got that one wrong too. Now it's important to mention that Papa got that one right. Each week, if you listen, we feature Papa's pick of the week by my father, my kid's grandfather, and Papa had picked the 49ers, but I had picked the Cowboys. So I do want to apologize to the mayor for disrespecting his team. He really took exception to that, and he should have, because I was wrong. I will say it. When I'm wrong, I will admit it. I picked against the mayor's team. I angered him, and I was very, very wrong. The 49ers have a good team. They have a great coach. They have a quarterback. This is a really fun story. This is something that if you're not a huge football fan, you're going to want to listen to. You maybe want to take note. This is a really, really good story, and you'll want to talk about this at your Super Bowl party. The 49ers, our mayor's team, have a quarterback known as Mr. Irrelevant. Now, that may seem like an insult, but it's a really unique distinction in the NFL. That's the last player selected in every year's draft, right? Back when, at the point where nobody's paying any more attention to the draft, that last guy drafted, they nickname him Mr. Irrelevant, because not only does that person rarely even make the team that they got picked by, or any other team for that matter, but they almost never even become a player that's relevant throughout the course of their entire career, right? Typically, they get picked, they get named Mr. Irrelevant, people point and laugh, and then the career's over, you never hear from them again. Well, Brock Purdy was last year's Mr. Irrelevant. He's still a rookie, so this is his first year. He's still the reigning Mr. Irrelevant. And this week, not only did he make the team, he is leading the team as their starting quarterback heading into the final week of the playoffs with a legitimate shot at the Super Bowl. So this really is the 49ers' year. And this week, this weekend, Sunday, they play the Philadelphia Eagles for the right to play in the big game. 49ers and Eagles, whoever wins goes to the Super Bowl. And the 49ers are led by this guy nicknamed Mr. Irrelevant. So, Mr. Mayor, I want to go on the record to apologize for picking against your team last week. And I also want to go on the record this week and pick the 49ers to lose to the Eagles this week. Sorry, sir. But your team's run is done. And KHTS co-owner Carl Goldman's Eagles of Philadelphia are going to get the win this week. That's right. Mr. Mayor, I'm picking against your team for the second week in a row. Now, the other game. Let's talk about the other game. The other game in Kansas City is a lot harder to pick. The Cincinnati Bengals play the Kansas City Chiefs. 2 great teams, 2 incredible quarterbacks. But last week, Patrick Mahomes, he's a quarterback of the Chiefs. He suffered what they call a high ankle sprain. He rolled his ankle, right? He rolled his ankle under a 300-pound guy. Ouch. But this is an injury that they say he would have skipped 3 to 4 games in the regular season, but he's been practicing all week. He says he's fine, but I ain't buying it. I'm just not buying it. I think he's not going to be able to run around like he needs to. The Bengals are going to blitz a lot, and they're going to get to him. So I think Joe Cool, that's what they call Joe Burrow, the quarterback of the Bengals, Joe Cool, is going to get past the Chiefs for the second year in a row, and we're going to have an Eagles-Bengals Super Bowl. So once again, sorry, Mr. Mayor, picking against your team. It's going to be the Eagles and the Bengals in the Super Bowl. I've been calling it since the first week of the playoffs that the Eagles were going to be in. You're welcome, Carl. But I've also been calling that the Eagles are going to lose the Super Bowl. So Eagles, Bengals pull it off. Let's see how that goes. And also, let's see a little bit later on if Papa agrees with me when Big T comes in. So, but when we get back, we're going to talk to the leaders of SCVi Charter School. Martha Spansel-Pellico and Chad Powell will be joining me. This week is National School Choice Week. That's right. You as a parent have the right to choose where your child goes to school. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about your Santa Clarita tuition-free school of choice, SCVi, when we get back. I am Matt Wattson. You're listening to SCVi and iLEADSchools Eye on the Valley on your hometown station, KHTS. Welcome back. You are listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. I am Matt Wattson, your host, and you are listening to SCVi and iLEADSchools Eye on the Valley. We are coming to you live from the center of Main Street here in downtown Newhall. And I am joined now by the leaders of your local tuition-free, that's the first question people always ask me, charter schools or public schools. These are the leaders of your local tuition-free public charter school, SCVi. Martha Spansel-Pellico earned her bachelor's degree in English and secondary teaching credential from the Master's College and her master's degree in educational leadership and administrative credential from the University of Laverne. She's got well over 17 years experience in school administration, and all of her 2 decades plus years of education experience are at local schools right here in Awesometown. And her partner Chad Powell earned his bachelor's degree and teaching credential from Fresno State and his master's degree and administrative credential from Cal State Northridge. And like Martha, he's served at local schools for over 20 years with extensive administrative experience, and now they both make up the powerhouse that is the leadership at SCVi. Martha, Chad, welcome back to Eye on the Valley.
Hey, thanks, Matt.
Thank you. Good to be back.
It's good to have you. Love talking about the great things going on at SCVi. First thing, let's just jump right into what makes you all so unique. It's funny, I hear from schools pretty much everywhere I go that, oh yeah, we're doing project-based learning, but it's not true project-based learning. They do learning with projects, but SCVi is a true project-based learning school. For our listeners who don't necessarily understand what project-based learning is, can you help them maybe just explain what it's all about? What is project-based learning? What is it that your learners are doing in school all day?
Hey, Matt, thanks. Project-based learning is an approach to teaching and learning that starts with at least 2 things. The first one is that it leverages natural curiosity. Every project starts with an interesting driving question, and our facilitators are able to hang all of the standards along the way so that the kids get the same content that they would get at a district neighborhood school, but they get it while they're answering an interesting question, creating a project, solving a problem, doing these sort of things. The other part is that this is the kind of environment that people are in out in the world. It is in most professions, you are working shoulder to shoulder with other people. You are creating projects that need to be completed, and you're presenting those projects. And so this, along with the 21st century skills that are required for communication and collaboration, and we coordinate their efforts, all of these things shine through in projects.
So this may seem like a silly question because, at least to me anyways, the answer seems obvious. But why is that important? Because, back in the 80s when I went to school, we were given a list of the facts and formulas that we were supposed to learn. I learned them. I got into college. I got a good job. So today, in 2023, why is project-based learning and that approach to teaching and learning important?
Yeah, we're living in a different world. There was a time, too, where you could buy a set of encyclopedias, and that was the same thing as saying education. It's where we're at today is that we're in an information-driven world where access to information or remembering facts isn't the problem.
Right.
It's what are the critical thinking and creative skills you have to implement real-world solutions with that information.
It's funny. I giggled when you said encyclopedias. I was over at my parents' house just the other day, and they've still got the set of encyclopedias that they bought back in 1985 for us right there on the shelf. They haven't moved since 1987, I don't think.
Don't get me wrong. I love a good encyclopedia.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
But you're right. I've got one in my back pocket here. So yeah, it's a great way to be not just educating our kids, but preparing them for the now and for the future. But it's more than just academic preparation that you're working on with your learners. Y'all start each day with something very important, although not everybody sees the importance of it. Let's talk about morning advisory and morning meetings. You start each day with these morning meetings with your learners. What's the purpose of having this community time as a class together each day?
Well, we find that this is very important. One of the things I think is probably the most important is it really gives that face time with the facilitator to really check in with their learners each day and just kind of get the pulse on what is happening with each one of their learners. It's the primary way that we also deliver our social emotional instruction, and basically what that looks like is the facilitators go over things like resiliency, the 7 habits, and whatnot, a bunch of topics that they can kind of just help build that community in their classrooms.
Gosh, so it's those things that when problems happen, everybody asks the question, why don't schools X, Y, and Z? You guys are taking care of that, right? I remember going to school, especially in middle school for whatever reason. I remember there were days that I was walking home from school thinking, I don't know that anybody noticed me today. But you guys avoid that right away because you're checking in with every learner. They're learning to work together and building not just competent professionals, but building competent professionals that know how to work together, manage themselves, and be leaders and good citizens. Now, SCVi has a very personalized approach to learning. It's not just project-based learning and everybody's working on the same project. It's really each learner making everything unique to themselves. Can you talk to us a little bit about how you do that and about why personalized learning matters?
Well, I think that's the, if I had to choose only one selling point of the school, as important as project-based and social emotional learning is, I would say this is that the fact that we are a small school by design, it has that small school, small town feel, where it is almost impossible to fall through the cracks here. Everyone knows your name. Everyone knows who you are here. And just that interpersonal connection, that someone cares, you're held accountable to someone, all of that is what makes this place unique compared to many of the large district neighborhood schools.
Gosh, that is so important that that kids feel truly connected to their school, truly, looked after, cared for. I have to say, I remember years ago when I was at SCVi, there was a learner that walked by and he just kind of reached into my office and waved, and I said hello and called him by first and last name, just being silly, and he was shocked that I knew his last name. And I thought, well, you go to my school. Why wouldn't I? But it's that level of close connection, both personally and then, Chad, you hit on the importance of personalized learning. Education, when I'm a student, it's for me, not for the group or the age that I'm at. Can we talk a little bit about ILPs? Because I noticed an interesting phenomenon a couple decades ago. Parents started catching on to the special education movement, right? Where a special education child had this unique and truly beautiful process where by law, schools would have to assess them and design a specialized program that met their specific needs and their goals. And so parents started getting savvy and started trying to get their kids diagnosed with whatever so that they could get them put on what's called an IEP, an individualized education plan. Y'all just kind of threw that out the window. Well, you didn't throw it out the window. We still legally comply, and all of your special education kids have that. But all of your learners are on ILPs. Can you talk a little bit about an ILP, what that is, and how that helps drive your personalized learning?
So ILPs are individualized learning plans, and they're for all students here at school. And what we do is we reserve a few days in the fall and then in the spring where we invite parents onto campus. They meet with facilitator and the learner as a group, and they come together collaboratively to develop plans for their learner. And the learner drives this conference. It's not mom and dad saying, I want my kid to work on this. It's the learner really choosing what they want to work on and how they can improve, which makes these ILP meetings so powerful. And so they come together and create this plan, and then they reassess it in the spring. So we do it twice a year.
Wow. And so it really is kind of that balance. Yes, all the kids are learning all the standards. They're doing it through authentic learning and project-based learning, but they're also doing it with an approach that focuses on their unique interests, talents, and needs. You've really pulled together kind of what it is that education really needs to be. Now, I want to talk a little bit for just a second about education at SCVi through your lens, through the lens of an administrator. Because as I mentioned when I introduced the two of you, you both have a long history with the Hart District and local schools. What made you want to try something different? Because let's face it, the reason folks move to Santa Clarita is for the amazing schools. And our friends at the local district have got some terrific schools. They're getting great results. But what made y'all want to step into something different and take on this leadership at SCVi?
Yeah, we do have great schools, and Martha and I both worked at amazing Hart District schools. We had that. But this is a little bit of a different feel. The large school districts feel like very well-run, very large companies that produce great results. SCVi has the feel of a startup in a way, in the positive ways, that it is smaller, it's more agile, and by that what I mean is that if we have a program that we believe is going to benefit our learners, there's some new education out in research, or there's something that's happening out there, we are able to quickly implement that here. We're able to then work it through, and then if it's something the larger districts want to scale up, they have access to it as well. But what drew Martha and I here is the ability to move quickly, to be creative, and some of those things when you're running a district of 23,000 kids, you have to be a little bit of everything for everyone. SCVi doesn't have to be that. This school is not for everyone. This school is for the people that believe in what we're doing. They think their child will benefit from this program, and it allows us to be very specialized and very good at what we do and not try to be just general purpose for everyone.
I like that, yeah, because when you try to be all things for everyone, you end up being, kind of shortcutting everyone. But the small size, as well as the way you design everything personalized, makes you really, really nimble. So does that change the way you work with your staff as well? What makes working together with the staff at SCVi different than the way you worked with your staff at the traditional district schools?
Yeah, I think I'd like to continue that analogy of a startup. We know when you have a very large, very established school district, it does tend to feel like a very large, very established business. But when you have a startup and everyone is energized by the exciting idea of what it is, everyone wears lots of hats. It's no one is pointing to the other person of that's not my job. When there's a need, people step into the gap, and we adjust to it. And it's that sort of can-do, excited attitude that we really love working with the staff on.
And we really have there's a lot of collaboration on our staff. The teachers and facilitators work together in grade level teams. They work together as representatives from their grade level with all the grade levels together. And we have a schedule that's really built for that. We have built-in collaboration for our staff to talk about learners and how to improve learning. In our schedule every Friday, we have professional learning, which is really just dedicated to what we can do better to serve our learners.
And we've really built in more of that time at this school than at any other school that I think either one of us have been a part of. In addition to that, at our lower school, we have an open classroom concept where teachers can just look across the room and see each other. And so that naturally generates a great deal of mutual support and creativity.
Mm-hmm.
And you're right, that feel of startup is an exciting feeling, and when I'm on your campus, I feel that coming from your staff as well, that excitement, that passion, and what parent wouldn't want their kids' educators to have that fire burning in them when they drop them off for school. It is a great place to work. I was going to ask that question. Is it a good place to work? But I know, because I've worked there for over a decade. I'm looking at your website, Chad, Martha, and I notice you've got a now hiring button. I joined SCVi 11 years ago thinking I would be there for a year until, the district started hiring again, and I just fell absolutely in love with it. It's an amazing place to work, but are you guys hiring, or is this just for next school year taking potential applications?
This right now is for next school year,
okay.
Taking potential applications for people that want to, that think they might want to join our team.
Okay, fantastic. So if you're an educator out there looking for a place to get passionate about, I mentioned I've been with SCVi and iLEAD for 11 years. I was also with a large district down south for 11 years and really just kind of lost that fire. I felt like I was just kind of a cog in the big machine. But if you're looking to do what you know is right by kids, you can join us for next school year. Head on over to SCVi's website, iLEADSantaClarita.org, and hit the Now Hiring button. Parents, you'll notice right next to that Now Hiring button, there's an enrollment application. Or on the other side of that button, there's a schedule a tour. If you're not sure if you're ready to enroll or not, just schedule a tour with us. Again, the website is iLEADSantaClarita.org. We've got the leaders of that school, SCVi Charter School, Martha Spancel-Pellico and Chad Powell on the phone with us this morning. This week is National School Choice Week, and they are the directors of your local school of choice, tuition-free SCVi. We'll talk more with them when we get back. We do need to take a quick break. I am Matt Wattson, and you're listening to SCVi and iLEADSchools Eye on the Valley on your hometown station, KHTS. Welcome back. You are listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 on the AM side. This is SCVi and iLEADSchools Eye on the Valley. I am your host, Matt Wattson, and this morning we're talking to Martha Spancel-Pellico and Chad Powell, directors of SCVi Charter School. Now, we were talking a little bit before about about project-based learning and why that's so important, and how basically project-based learning either simulates or truly does activate kids in the real world and the real work environment. The learners at SCVi have gotten involved in some really great projects this year. Can you share just an example of a project or two that your kids have been working on? What are some of your favorites?
Well, I think the thing that we've seen a lot of great projects. You are right. The one that I think that I like the most is a shout out to one of our seniors, Sarah Moracek. She is deciding to do a service project back to the school as part of her IB kind of capstone class. And she wants to help develop a garden on campus. And this isn't just her and her parents coming one weekend and developing it. She has a whole plan where she's brought in all of the lower school learners and the teachers and the facilitators. And what they're doing is they're growing the tomato seeds in the classroom as part of their science curriculum, and then they're going to transport it out for the garden. And she's also come up with a plan to help perpetuate the garden. And once she's graduated, have a junior for their senior project to help sustain the garden. So it's not just a one-shot thing and it dies, but she has a plan to sustain it on our campus after she's gone.
I love that. I think the listeners can
exactly. And then another one of the fun projects that's gone on is our Dream Up to Space project.
Oh, that's huge.
That we actually work together with iLEAD California on. And we have a group of students that are interested in math and engineering and space and aviation, and they're actually in teams designing projects that would potentially go up to the space station.
Wow. Gosh, both of those projects are remarkably different, but both of them so amazingly rigorous and real, right? So you've got kids that are involved in space exploration, not pretending to be involved in space exploration, writing experiments that are being done in space, and then you've got another learner who is building a garden to give back to her school, and she's involving staff, she's involving other learners, she's collaborating, she's project managing, she's leading. And these are the things we need our kids to be doing, right?
Right, exactly.
Oh gosh, this is so exciting. I love walking around and seeing all the different things happening on your campus. It really is exciting. Again, I want to encourage families to go to iLEADSantaClarita.org. That's SCVi's website. You know what? Even if you're not sure, take a tour. You're going to get excited about the things going on campus at SCVi. Now, one of the things that I love most that oftentimes people overlook when they're considering a school, SCVi is a comprehensive school. That means it's TK through 12th grade. So you can, and we actually do have learners graduating this year that have attended our school for 13 years. They've never attended a different school. You've got about 750 kids on campus, but there are programs within the school that are almost like, maybe we would call them academies or, smaller learning communities and things like that. Can you talk about some of the unique programs on your campus? Let's maybe start with something that's become really popular. People are really seeing the value in dual language immersion programs. Can you talk about the dual language immersion program at SCVi?
Sure. We have dual language immersion all the way from K up through 4th grade.
Oh, wow.
And the thing that's really great about it is we actually, this year, first time since we've been here, we have teachers from Spain teaching the Spanish portion of the dual language immersion. So what learners learn is they learn their content in English, and then they also learn the same content in Spanish. So we're coming through the program, and then they're going up each grade level. So each year they gain the grade level standards as well as learn another language.
Wow, so it's not just building the conversational Spanish, but the academic language as well. And again,
Correct.
You said that you've got facilitators, you've got teachers from Spain. Are they do they Zoom in from Spain, or are they actually there in the classroom?
They are actually in our classroom. They came over in August, and we have them hopefully for the next 3 years.
Oh, fantastic. Boy, you talk about a recruitment fair.
Yeah, we have an arrangement through the Ministry of Education in Spain that their teachers get to come here. They get to have a great experience. They get to work on their U.S. credentials, while at the same time we get the benefit of highly experienced teachers from Spain teaching Spanish. In addition to our dual language immersion, which we think is amazing, we also have an IB program, International Baccalaureate program at our high school level, which it is similar in some ways to advanced placement in that the students are taking advanced coursework and potentially getting college credit for it, but it plugs into a larger international base, and it tends to be more portfolio and project-based rather than necessarily test-based. But it really gives our learners the chance to push themselves academically and prepare themselves for universities.
And it really prepares them to be global citizens. Chad, I first learned about the International Baccalaureate when I was actually teaching down in South America. Worldwide, it's an extremely popular and sought-after program, but it's just starting to catch on here in the United States as, like you said, it's really developing not just kids that are looking to learn a little bit more, take a little bit harder test, get a little bit extra credit, but it's developing those global thinkers, global leaders. It really is an exciting program that, you talked a little bit about the project that Abigail Murachek is rolling out. Now, let me ask you this. Being a public school, SCVi is open to anyone who wants to enroll, but if you fill up, there is a lottery, right? So how can people who are interested join the lottery for your school next year?
I think there's a couple ways. For those people that want to just take a look a little bit more of what we're offering, they can go directly to our website. We have lots of information there. at iLEADSchools.org, iLEADSantaclarita.org. And they can also just give us a call directly here at the school. We're happy to speak with them in person. We're at 705-4820. Those are two good ways to get to know about things. But Martha and I would both encourage families to take a tour of the school first before they even join the lottery. Right? Like we said before, this is an amazing place, but it is not for everyone. If you believe in these things that we're doing, then come take a look at the place, really get a feel for it, and then apply into our lottery. And we'd love to get you going here.
Yeah, and we do tours twice a month.
Okay.
You can click on the website and schedule a tour as well as apply.
Again, that's iLEADSantaclarita.org, and yeah, that's I think that would have been a great thing for me to do, because I'm not one that's very fast to make a commitment, and so I wouldn't necessarily go on the website and immediately fill out the application, although families can do that if they're listening to you for the last half an hour or so and decide that this is the school for you and they want to fill out that application, they're automatically enrolled in the lottery, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Doesn't guarantee them a spot, but let's talk about your borders, right? Because things have changed over the last couple decades in public education. I mentioned that you are the school of choice for Santa Clarita, but you're not just for Santa Clarita. Who is it that's able to attend your school? Is it just the folks there in that Castaic neighborhood that your campus is in, or is it open up to a broader audience?
Anyone that can hear your voice, Matt.
Anyone that can hear my voice. I'm a loud guy, Chad.
Yeah, we have free transportation from the Fillmore, Piru area, as well as from the Sherman Oaks and Encino area. So we're really open to all.
Oh, wow.
Right, and especially if, for whatever reason, your neighborhood school isn't meeting your needs, or you don't feel that it's safe or rigorous, or whatever it is, you're not happy with your neighborhood school. As far away, again, as Fillmore, Piru, or in the Valley, we have a lot of kids whose families made that decision to come here.
Oh, gosh. So, yeah, you mentioned folks coming up from the Valley. Fillmore, Piru, that's in Ventura County, and they're still allowed to attend your school. Basically, like you said, if you can hear my voice, you can send your kids to SCVi. Again, cost of tuition, Martha?
Free.
Free. You're a public school, funded like any other public school, free to attend, but bringing in rigorous project-based learning built around your learners' passions, very, very individualized learning programs. Super exciting. One more time, if someone wants to take a tour of the campus, because, like I said, the single most important decision that a parent can make is what school to send their kids to. You can't take that decision lightly. If families want to tour your campus one more time, how do they do that?
They can go onto the website iLEADSantaclarita.org or give us a call.
Fantastic. And before I let you go, is there anything else I'm missing? Anything else that you want to mention about SCVi, brag on? Did I miss anything today?
No, I think we've given everybody a lot of things to think about.
Fantastic. Again, choosing what school is right for your kid is a difficult decision. Every kid learns differently. In fact, I've got just 2 kids, and both of them were remarkably different. I chose 2 different schools for them, even though they were 2 years apart. So choosing the right school for your kid is very important. Would you give us a chance? Take a look at SCVi's website, iLEADSantaclarita.org. Come take a tour. If you find it's not the school for you, then continue on your search. But just like I did 11 years ago, you might fall in love with the school. One more time, iLEADSantaclarita.org. Chad, Martha, I know that you guys are busy. It's a busy Friday on your campus. You've got professional learning going on with your staff. I always appreciate the time that you take to call in and talk with us. One more time, the website, iLEADSantaclarita.org, for your tuition-free school of choice, SCVi. Chad, Martha, y'all have a wonderful Friday and a great weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. Thanks for the opportunity.
Absolutely. Take care. This is SCVi and iLEADSchools Eye on the Valley. I am Matt Wattson. Hey, do you like trivia? Do you like goofing off? Well, then stick around, because this is your trivia and goofing off show of record. It's not even close. This is also your hometown station, KHTS. Welcome back. You're listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. This is SCVi and iLEADSchools Eye on the Valley. I am your host, Matt Wattson, and I am now being joined by engineer Andrew. Andrew, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good to have you. You're looking to take on the reigning champ again?
Oh, yeah.
All right. We've also got producer Sarah. Sarah, welcome to the show.
Good morning, Matt.
You produce a great show this morning. We appreciate it as always. But Sarah, I'm sorry to say it's not about you. This is now time for Big T's 5 Minutes of Fame. Y'all know Big T. Big T is a longtime resident and leader in the Santa Clarita Valley. He is an executive and philanthropist. He's an amazing father, husband, and community leader. And with all of the greatness that he's built, I really think he's compensating for his own feelings of inadequacy. Here he is. He's Mom's favorite, Big T. Welcome to the show.
Morning, brother man. How you doing?
Doing great, doing great. Hey, I hear you're mobile again this morning. Where you at?
I am. I'm in the Santa Susana Mountains.
Oh, beautiful. And after the rains we've had, I bet it's gorgeous. You know, they've got an amazing, like, really big rock right there in the middle of the mountains. Can you see that? Where's that?
Yeah, it's right over there.
Oh, very cool, very cool. Hey, Big T, I don't know if you were listening earlier on. We did our NFL picks, had to eat some crow. You remember last week I picked against the Mayor's 49ers. Got that one wrong.
Yeah.
Papa got it right. I did apologize to the Mayor on the air, although I picked against the Niners again. So what about you? You got any favorites in the games this weekend?
Well, Papa's 2-0 in NFL playoffs so far, and his pick of the week this week is the Bengals.
He's picking the Bengals. I like the Bengals too.
Strong pick.
So Papa and I are aligned on that one. Engineer Andrew, who you got in the games?
Oh, yeah, we got Bengals and then Eagles.
Bengals, Eagles. Carl will be glad to hear that. I've got the same Super Bowl picked as well. All right, so Big T, the way we play trivia is Andrew, Sarah, and I will hit our buzzers by calling out our names. You're going to throw the questions. We'll hit our buzzers, and then we will answer. 1 point for correct answers, 0 points for incorrect answers. The listeners at home, y'all get an advantage because you don't have to hit your buzzer. Instead of shouting your name, just shout the answer. See if you can beat us. And I tell you what, you keep score at home. See if you can beat Andrew, Sarah, and I. And I will keep score here in the studio. We're going to go Andrew. I think I'm going to go with Frogger this week. I don't know why.
All right.
Just weird. And then Sarah. So Big T, let's go ahead and do this. What have you got for us?
Perfect. I'm kicking off with a little bit of a fun fact, if I can, Frogger.
Please, long as it's fun.
Do you know that Arnold Schwarzenegger has punched more animals on film than any other actor? His list includes 2 dogs, 2 camels, and a reindeer.
How are you going to punch a reindeer?
Oh,
well, you know why
Jingle All the
he
Way?
punched him, right?
Oh, why?
Could even tase him?
They made fun of his accent.
But none were harmed.
None were harmed? Are you sure about that? He's a strong guy.
Rudolph had a stunt reindeer.
All right. Was it Blitzen?
All right, here we go. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Here we do it.
All right. What sport features a railroad split?
Andrew.
Bowling? That is correct. Nice pull.
Nice.
What Civil War general's house is next to the current Arlington Cemetery?
Frogger.
That
would be Sherman.
Incorrect.
Yeah.
That's what my guess was going to be.
Yeah, no, I think I know who it is. No?
Andrew, anything?
Negative.
It's Lee, isn't it?
Yep, it's Robert E. Lee.
They because he lost the war, they took his land away and put a cemetery on it. Yeah.
Ooh,
bummer.
Petty.
What's the currency called that is used in Turkey and formerly used in Italy?
Sarah?
Sarah?
Lira.
Lira is correct. Nice pull.
Nice.
What does IBM stand for?
Frogger.
International
Business Machines.
That is correct. Andrew was thinking inmensa bola de manteca.
Yes, I was.
Nice.
John Madden famously used what device to freehand drawings over video images?
Frogger. Is it a teleprompter?
We'll give it to you. It was a telestrator.
Telestrator. Okay. I'll take your charity. Yeah.
All right. Some NFL quarterback trivia for you. Where did Patrick Mahomes play college football?
Andrew.
Andrew.
Texas Tech.
Nice pull. Where did Brock Purdy play college football?
Andrew.
Andrew.
Ooh, was it Iowa State?
Got the state on the end.
There it is.
Where did Jalen Hurts start and end his college career?
Oh, Frogger, West Virginia.
Frogger. Incorrect.
Yeah.
Andrew, Ohio State?
Incorrect. Sarah, you got anything?
Michigan State.
No, he started and played for 3 years at Alabama, and then transferred out of Alabama and went to Oklahoma. Where did Joe Burrow start and end his college career?
Frogger.
Frogger.
He started in Ohio State. He ended at LSU.
That is correct. Of those 4 quarterbacks that I just named, how many of them have won a Heisman Trophy?
Frogger.
Andrew.
I got Frogger, then Andrew.
I'm going 2.
Which 2?
Hurts and Burrow.
Incorrect. It is not 2.
I feel like I got your question right, though.
Right? I'm going
Andrew?
1.
It is 1. And who is it?
Okay. Joey Burrow.
Joe Cool, that is correct.
So you asked me the follow-up question even though I was
like,
wrong
okay.
on the initial. All right. I see how it is.
Because I wanted you to come up with 2 people other than Joe Burrow just to bust your chops later.
Yeah, my dad's going to yell at me because I thought Jalen Hurts won the Heisman. Jeez.
I thought you were going to pick Mr. Irrelevant.
Yeah, no.
Oh, yeah.
Name the 3 highest Roman numerals in value.
Oh, Frogger.
Frogger.
So there's 1,000. Do you want the letter?
Yes, please.
Okay, M.
Okay.
There's 500, C, and 100, which is L.
Incorrect. You got,
Yeah,
Sarah, go ahead.
I lost it.
You had the denominations right, Matt. So it's 1,000 is M, 500 is D, and 100 is C.
Nice job, Sarah.
Nice. Well done. How many points is she getting for that one? Because that was really, really spot on.
She gets all the points for that one.
She gets all the points. All right, cool.
Big T doesn't dish out points. He just asks the questions.
All right.
You keep track of the points, and once you have the lead, then end the game like normal.
Well, yeah, like we did with the mayor. We're actually a little bit of an update. We're doing pretty well. Andrew leads it with 4. I've got 3. Sarah's got 2. Pretty tight race this morning. You got any more for us?
Sure do.
Okay,
a Canadian rock band shares its name with mannequins used by automotive safety engineers.
Andrew.
What is it?
Frogger.
Andrew.
Crash Test Dummies.
Crash Test Dummies is correct. 120/80 blood pressure reading. The 120 represents the diastolic number. What does 80 represent?
Frogger.
Frogger.
Systolic.
Yes, that is correct. What company that commits 1/3 of its profits to the grassroots good gets its name from the phrase "tomorrow's shoes"?
Oh, Andrew.
You guys remember? Andrew, go ahead.
Tom Shoes.
That commercial just popped into your head, huh, Andrew?
Yes, it did.
We give one away. Which country has the most time zones?
Frogger.
Andrew.
Frogger than Andrew?
Russia.
Incorrect.
Ooh.
Sarah.
Andrew, you got anything? European country?
Nope. I got nothing.
No hints.
Sarah?
I would have guessed Russia.
Well, that messed me up because you said European, and I was going to go with Canada.
That was my second one. You said European.
Andrew.
No, I was going to say Canada. Then you said European. So you got me messed up.
What is it, T?
It is France.
What?
Explain that to me.
It is France.
Was it like a different time in every city?
Something like that.
Okay.
I think they might make up their own rules.
Okay. Yes, in Paris it's 11:15, but in Nice it's 11:25.
They have a time zone for every place that they waved a surrender flag.
Oh, I see. Then that makes sense.
All right, who's credited for inventing the alternating current electrical system?
Andrew.
Oh.
Andrew.
Oh.
Was it Tesla?
It was Tesla. Nikola Tesla.
Yeah.
Imelda Marcos was famous for her collection of...
Frogger.
Frogger.
Shoes.
You want me to ask you the follow-up of how many she had, Matt?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
All of them.
I'm going with a lot.
What is the capital city of India?
Frogger.
Frogger.
Is that New Delhi?
New Delhi's correct.
All right. It was either that or Old Delhi.
Right.
Yeah, one of the two. The Old Delhis are good, though.
You know, New Delhi is the New Delhi.
Yes, it is. Which organ gets affected by hepatitis?
Frogger.
Sarah.
Frogger.
The liver.
The liver.
We're tied, Andrew. We're tied.
All right.
Come on, Sarah.
When the leader of Cuba's Communist Party resigned in 2021, it ended more than 6 decades in power by these brothers. What's their last name?
Frogger.
Sarah.
Frogger, then Sarah.
Castro.
Castro's correct. In 2021, what pastor made history as the first African American to represent Georgia in the U.S. Senate?
Sarah.
Sarah.
Warnock.
Warnock is correct. Nice pull, Sarah. What wireless company merged with T-Mobile in 2020?
Frogger.
Frogger.
Sprint.
Sprint is correct.
I know this one. I fled T-Mobile, went to Sprint, and got sucked back into T-Mobile.
Oh, no.
Are you still happy?
I have a pink phone now. You tell me.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, boy.
All right. Kampala is the capital of what African country?
Andrew. Kenya.
Andrew. Kenya's incorrect.
Frogger.
Frogger.
The Democratic Republic of Congo.
Incorrect.
Are you impressed that I know that the Democratic Republic of Congo is a country?
You have no idea how impressed I am.
Sarah, have I given you enough time to Google the answer?
No, I didn't bother. I wish I had thought of it.
It's Uganda.
Okay, because if Big T can't pronounce it, Sarah can't Google it.
Who was the first African American female to win the Best Actress Oscar, who tearfully said, "This is so much bigger than me"?
Oh.
Andrew.
Andrew.
Wait, was it Halle Berry?
Yeah, good pull. Nice job. Halle Berry's correct. The quote, "What doesn't kill me makes me stronger," comes from an 1889 work by what German philosopher?
Frogger.
Frogger.
Kant.
No.
Andrew.
Andrew.
Nietzsche.
It is Friedrich Nietzsche.
There we go.
There we go.
Name the 4 states bordering Minnesota.
Frogger.
Frogger.
Michigan. Wisconsin.
Incorrect. Wisconsin is not incorrect. Michigan's incorrect.
Sarah?
So I'll stop you there. Sarah?
All right. I'm going Illinois, Wisconsin.
Incorrect. Illinois is not there. We still got Wisconsin. Andrew, you got anything?
No. Negative. Oh, okay.
You sure?
It is,
I'm not going to.
It is Wisconsin, Iowa, North Dakota, South Dakota.
Yeah, Iowa's
Okay.
further up than we
The
expect,
Dakotas.
right? We expect Iowa to be in the middle, not right up there against Minnesota.
Right. What 3 colors make up the Irish flag?
Frogger.
Frogger.
I think it was Andrew.
Was it Andrew first?
Mm-hmm.
Orange, white, and
Andrew.
green.
Orange, green, and white is correct.
Yeah, any order?
What sandwich restaurant with over 2,000 locations is named after the Spanish word for breadbasket?
Frogger.
Frogger.
It's not Jersey Mike's. It's Panera.
Panera is correct. That's a good club sandwich.
Right.
What golfer nicknamed the Golden Bear has won 18 major championships?
Frogger.
Frogger.
Is that Jack Nicklaus?
Jack Nicklaus is correct.
Woohoo!
In the TV show Friends, Joey got a chance to be what movie star's butt double?
Nah. Andrew.
Oh, you got to love the question.
Right?
Andrew, go ahead.
Was it Robert De Niro?
No, but you're very close.
I
Their
knew
butts
it.
look alike.
It was one of them.
Frogger.
Frogger.
Al Pacino.
Al Pacino is correct.
I went with the wrong one.
I tell you what, folks, you won't get trivia like this anywhere else. Only right here on High on the Valley.
Dividing the east and west hemispheres, the anti-meridian lies how many degrees both east and west of the prime meridian?
Sarah?
Sarah.
180.
180 is correct. Nice pull.
Well, that makes absolute sense.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
What news and entertainment company sponsors the National Spelling Bee?
Frogger.
Frogger.
Scripps.
Scripps is correct.
I don't know why I know that.
What molecules are the basic building blocks that help form protein?
Frogger.
Frogger.
Amino acids.
That's why you're so healthy.
Yeah.
Nice pull.
Yeah.
From the Latin for, actually, we covered that one, sorry.
All right.
3 South American cities. Are we done?
No. We got one more minute.
Okay. All right. 3 South American cities have capitals that start with the letter B. Name them.
Oh, Frogger.
Frogger.
Buenos Aires, Argentina.
That is correct.
I'm out. Oh, Bogota, Colombia.
I need that one.
Now I'm out.
Now I'm out.
Now you're out. So, Andrew, you got 2 of the 3, or Sarah, you have 2 of the 3 if you can come up with the third.
Negative.
Negative. Brasilia.
Oh,
okay.
That's right. It's not Rio de Janeiro, friends.
You got ready for one more question?
One more question.
All right. In baseball, what 2 positions consist of the battery?
Frogger.
Frogger.
That's pitcher and catcher.
Oh, you're lucky you didn't let Papa down.
I know. I took you there in the end. Frogger took another win today. Good job, though, Andrew. We got 10-14. Sarah, very respectable showing. We appreciate it. We do have to wrap up. Big T, thanks for swinging by. I want to thank our guests, CPA Mark Gerges of Gerges & Gibbs Incorporated, directors of SCVi Charter School, Martha Spencer-Pellico and Chad Powell, producer Sarah, Engineer Andrew, Engineer Precious, Big T, and thank you for listening. Hey, life is hard, but we're all here to help each other along. Be well and do good. Join us again next week and every Friday, 8 to 10 a.m. I am Matt Wattson, and this is SCVi and iLEADSchools Eye on the Valley on your hometown station, KHTS.